following is a documentation of the facts. No speculation, no debate, no conjecture. What you are about to witness has been observed, recorded, and confirmed across centuries, across continents, across every culture that has ever had eyes to see with. The evidence is overwhelming, and the subject is her case file. The African woman. The investigation begins here. Detectives will tell you there are 3 things a good case needs: physical evidence, witness testimony, and motive. We have all 3, in abundance. Let's start with the physical evidence. Exhibit A, the posture. The way she carries herself before she's spoken a single word. Before the room has had a chance to catch up, her posture has already filed its statement. Spine aligned, shoulders settled, chin level. This is not performance. This is a woman who has already decided who she is. The posture alone is inadmissible in a court of doubt, because doubt doesn't survive contact with this kind of certainty. Exhibit B, the body. Let the record show. It was built for exactly this. Not built to fit a standard someone else wrote. Built to its own specification, in its own dimension, according to its own internal blueprint. The shoulders, broad enough to carry legacy, soft enough to hold grief. These are not decorative. These are structural. The waist, that deliberate taper, the pause before the landscape expands again. Scientists have studied this proportion for decades and still cannot fully explain why the human eye finds it so arresting. The body knew before the studies did. The hips. Counsel would like to enter the hips into evidence as Exhibit B, subsection 1. Because frankly, they speak for themselves. Wide, grounded, unapologetic. Every step they take is a sworn statement. Every curve is notarized. And the thighs, the load-bearing foundation of this entire case. Strong, substantive, the kind of evidence that doesn't need a caption. The defense rests. There is no defense. Now, the witness testimony. The first witness, history itself. History has been called to the stand, and it does not lie. Every civilization, Egyptian, Nubian, Yoruba, Zulu, Ashanti, has left behind art, sculpture, and ceremony that places the African woman at the center. Not at the margins. At the center. The Venus of Willendorf. The Nok terracottas. The fertility figures carved from stone before written language existed. These are not coincidences. These are a species-wide acknowledgement, pressed into clay and chiseled into rock, that this form, her form, has always been considered sacred. History's testimony. She was never an afterthought. She was always the thesis, the second witness, any room she has ever walked into. We've all seen it. The physics of her entrance, the way conversation adjusts, the way attention, involuntary, instinctive, reorganizes itself in the direction she came from. This is not anecdotal. This has been studied. Researchers in behavioral psychology call it presence, the measurable effect one person has on the energy and attention of a space. Most people score low on this metric. She does not. When she enters, the room files its own witness statement, and that statement says, noted, significant, impossible to ignore. Exhibit C, the skin. The prosecution would like to draw the court's attention to the skin, because this is perhaps the most compelling piece of physical evidence in the entire case. Melanin, the pigment responsible for the depth, the richness, the spectrum of brown and amber and deep mahogany that makes her skin what it is. Melanin is not a neutral substance. It is a photon-absorbing, UV-deflecting, sun-drinking biological marvel. Science has confirmed it ages more slowly. It holds light differently. It was built for endurance. This is not cosmetic. This is engineering. Her skin doesn't just catch the light. It holds a conversation with it. By the time the light leaves, it has been transformed. Warmer, richer, more complex than when it arrived. The glow you're seeing is not a filter. It is the evidence. And now, the motive. Every case needs one, and in this case, the motive is confidence, not the loud kind, Not the kind that needs to announce itself before it enters the room. The quiet kind. The kind that's been stress-tested by real life, by mornings that didn't go as planned, by rooms that didn't welcome her, by standards she was told to meet that were never designed with her in mind. And she walked through all of it. And she is still here, still standing, still filing evidence. That's not stubbornness. That's proof of something deeper than beauty. That's the documentation of a woman who decided, somewhere along the line, that the verdict of the world was inadmissible and rendered her own. Confidence is the motive. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we have reviewed the physical evidence. We have heard the witness testimony of history and the witness testimony of every room she has ever entered. We have examined the exhibits, the posture, the body, the skin, the stride. We have established the motive, a confidence so deep it rewrites the terms of the investigation. The case is not complex. The evidence is not ambiguous. There is no reasonable doubt remaining. The verdict is unanimous. She is undeniable. She has always been undeniable. And no court, no standard, no borrowed definition of beauty will ever successfully argue otherwise. This case is closed. But here is the final thing the evidence tells us. The detail that every good investigator saves for last. She didn't need this case to be built. She didn't need the evidence filed, or the witnesses called, or the exhibits entered into the record. She already knew. The investigation was never for her benefit. It was for ours, to catch up to something she has understood about herself, since long before anyone thought to document it. The file is closed, the record is sealed, and she has already moved on to the next room.